Well, the football game is canceled today. Oh, it's bright. Football game is canceled today, so Amy was one. Yeah, this is the early one.
You need to clarify what you're talking about.
Well, what do I look like? A football analyst? They can figure that out. Here. You in here? You gotta move a little bit this way. Okay, there we go. There we go. Well, now we got a problem with our thing.
Oh, everyone just got motion sickness.
Yeah. This is how the Blair Witch Project looks like. There! I made it work. Were you trying to eat my...
No.
Can't do that. So, the early football game was canceled because of the frigid... Was it the snow? I think it was the snow conditions, actually, in Buffalo, right? In Buffalo. So, I said to Amy, yeah, it's early to do the top 10 list this time of year, but yesterday was the first time we really pushed them. Pushed the horses hard. And before it was all, try and get it right and teach them. We obviously teaching them stuff all the time, but yesterday was the first day we got a glimpse. I got a glimpse. Anyway. And it's early. I wasn't going to do a top 10 list, but I was sitting there bored with my yogurt-covered raisins and didn't have a whole lot to do. And figured, you know what? Let's do a top 10 list. Now, Amy, I was surprised. I thought I'd get a lot more pushback from the top 10 list today. I thought it would take some poking and prodding. So, Amy's going to do a top 10 list. I'm going to do, so we're going to 10, 10, 9, 9. And last year we did...
Take it with a grain of salt.
Well, you take it with more than a grain of salt. Some of these picks are obviously horses I went with, but actually, 1, 3, 4, 5. I never sat behind yesterday. So take that back right now. Serious.
Okay, fine.
Try it. Say sorry.
Sorry.
Well, 2 first today. Anyway. Anyway, we're going to bring you guys top 10 list from, I guess it would have to be in real time. Now, I didn't put any horses on.
I based this on the one training trip in Ontario and yesterday.
Yes, and that is exactly what I was going to get to. I think Westland Warrior is one of our best horses.
Yeah.
Didn't make the list because Cadeau and even Arrowhead, I think, is pointed in the right direction. Those horses were castrated, did not train this week. So I made them ineligible because you guys know how it is. Especially this time of year, the top 10 list be 28, and you try and whittle it down to 10. Well, it was much easier to get it done when the horses that made a break yesterday didn't make the list. The horses that just weren't spectacular yesterday didn't make the list. Horses that were castrated, didn't go yesterday, did not make the list. So it was much easier to get a top 10 list. So even more than take it with a grain of salt, usually would be even a little more salt this week because, as I said, Western Warrior, Cadeau, Arrowhead, Hanover, these are horses that I think you're going to see show up on some of these lists all winter long. And feel free. Every year we have people saying, oh, what about having a top 10 list from Jason or Jason? Well, which I'm happy to do from time to time, or Danny, or Dominic, or anybody. But feel free to send your own in if you want to, too. You post people's top 10 lists. I mean, unless you're saying, like, your top 5 horses are horses you own pieces of.
I still like that draft thing that we did the very first year.
What draft thing? Oh, we had a contest?
We had, you made, your own stable, and then
We might ask Kelly. You might ask Kelly. That was fun. We might ask Kelly to do that this year.
But you have to pick them, now.
No, you can do them at any point. But if you do pick them now, the earlier you pick them, the less likely it is you're going to ties, right? Because what we ended up with, you're right, the year we did that, 3 people had the exact same stable heading into the end of the season. And
it was how much money did they win?
Oh, I don't know if they won a lot. I think they won credits at stable. Don't be getting anything in their head. What are you doing? You're putting stuff in their heads about winning money and stuff. You can't do that. Well, you can promise them a car if you want, but it's just not going to come to fruition. You can have it right through the fall and then give people credits at the sale. That would be fun because either way, it's still money coming from us. We can talk to Kelly about that. That's a very, very good idea. So let's get to it, though. We've been talking for 4 minutes now.
That's light.
I've been talking for 4. Another dig. I see. 4 minutes now and 39 seconds. So let's get right to it. What's that?
Did you order my drink?
I did not order your drink, and my phone is busy recording, so you're going to have to wait a minute. You do a good job, and I'll get you a Starbucks drink. How's that? That's your reward for doing a great top 10 list. So, number 10, we're going to go 10 by 10.
I get it.
Okay. My number 10 is Chicago Hall. Now, Chicago Hall, I went with the other day. The reason I liked him, one, very strong colt. Two, first time I've sat behind him in a training setting. And three, coming into that set the other day, Danny had told me he wasn't trotting, he wasn't acting right. There was just something bothering him. And we added some weight to him. I put toe weights and bell boots on him right away. Without even going with him, I put them on him right away. Went out in the track, and he was a little shuffly, a little bumpy, and he was making breaks. I come right off the track, and I went in and put the hobbles on him. He never had the hobbles on a second of his life. Went back on the track, jogged one lap, turned, and that's the mile you saw the other day. And he was making it pretty good on the end of the mile. I was very, very impressed with Chicago Hall the other day. This a pretty well-bred colt that I thought both those Hall horses, this was the first year. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to go down that path, but they're very affordable. I think both Gaslight Hall and Chicago Hall. Happy to have them, and the Gaslight horse looked good the other day, but Chicago Hall looked very, very good. Easy number 10 for me.
I put She Sits at the Bar.
She Sits at the Bar, the filly that made a break yesterday. Okay.
But she went really good on Monday.
She did? I thought we were...
And it wasn't her fault yesterday.
Oh, really? Whose fault was it?
Mine.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. She Sits at the Bar. I would agree with you. I took her off the list because she made a break. And she did train good on Monday, yeah. She did look good on Monday. I was very happy with the way she looked on Monday. And I wasn't going to blame it on you.
Oh, why?
It's just because I'm your husband.
You did blame me.
No, I did not.
On the track.
Nope.
Yes, you did.
Nope, I did not. Either way, I think the filly is a very fast filly. And yesterday was unfortunate, but it happens. Number 10, She Sits at the Bar for you. Number 9 for me is another Ontario bred. Now, the two Ontario breds I put on the list, you have to understand also, we've been going with the Ohio horses, going with them, so I see them all every day. I only saw the Ontario horses the one time, and that was their first training mile with any sort of speed. It wasn't fast, 257, 258 something, but it was not fast at all. So again, I would have to say, truthfully, the Ontario horses, just training, just speed-wise, are maybe a couple of weeks behind the Ohio horses. So I'm extrapolating as much as I am looking at the horses. But Princess Dream won, very, very good-looking filly. Very well-bred filly. Looks nice on the track. Happy, does her work well. Amy won the set with her in Ontario, but she looked very, very good. I like everything about this filly. The muscle masses, the only digs, the ones that we had that didn't turn out to be quality horses. You know, they were just kind of middle of the road or just overnight type horses. They all looked okay, but they had that clunky kind of lazy way about them. This filly doesn't have that. She's got a kind of a sparky way about her. She's a little more lean and smaller than the typical muscle masses, much like Tipsy was. Yeah. Much like Tipsy was. But quick on her feet like a cat. And when I look at all the muscle masses we've had, and I have, you look at the ones, and you can put them into groups almost. Now, after a while, you can put them into groups. But none of the attributes of the slower ones I see in Princess Dream. So, twofold. One, I love the way she's bred. Very well-bred filly. This is a sister to the filly that won the Breeders' Crown and was a favored winning the Breeders' Crown. Aki's mare, Warwee Michelle. Mm-hmm. This is the half-sister to Warwee Michelle. Her entire family is jam-packed full of talent and good horses. She moves quick. She clearly isn't going to interfere anywhere. She's got a very slick gait. And the fact that she's not a heavy filly only makes me believe that she's going to have that much more of a head start from some of the other horses. The muscle mass is generally a little blocky, get a little sore in their knees throughout the spring. Even Tipsy was making breaks. And then we put the hobbles on her, and she came on as the stakes season started. This filly hits the ground very light on her feet, very quick gait to her. So I don't see any of those attributes that may cause concern. So that's what I like about Princess Dream. Really, everything I like about Princess Dream. You like her pedigree, you like the way she moves, her body type, how she hits the ground, how I like to say how she enters and exits her gait. Very, very nice filly, and I think 9 might be the lowest you're going to see her for a while, maybe. But I had to put her on the list. She was that impressive.
I had her in there too.
Did you look at my number 9 and then changed it and moved it? I don't want to see your list.
Well, then don't accuse me of changing it.
I was a simple question. I just asked. So you can tell everybody why you like Princess Dream, then. You can't just say what he said.
No, the only thing I was going to say was that she's only at number 9 because we're not going the same speed as we were the other
100%.
horses. And if she was thrown into the horses here, I think she'd fit right in. But she,
I agree.
Like I said, she didn't have, I don't know.
She's just a nice horse.
Yeah.
So our 9s are the same. Now remember, I never let Amy rubberneck at all. She's not allowed to look at my list. I wasn't looking at hers. So it's interesting we both did the same number 9. Number 8 for me is Speed of Sound. This is Amy's filly.
What?
Amy was irate when I bought this filly.
Oh
You guys
my God,
remember?
they've heard the story.
But it gets funnier every time.
No, it's not.
Beautiful filly, nice gait, very strong. Speed doesn't seem to all bother her at all. She was not herself yesterday too. She was horsing really bad. You could tell in the mile. Still finished up strong and attacking at the wire. I love this filly, not because we didn't pay a lot of money for her, and not because you didn't like her, but because
I thought I didn't like her.
No, I think that's it. Well, yeah, I think that's exactly it. But that has no bearing on why I like her. I like this filly because of who she is, what she is, how she looks. I have no way of knowing Princess Dream or Chicago how they're going to be when June and July rolls along. We don't know that until their nose touches that starting gate, and then sometimes a little bit after. But when it comes to this filly, when I look at, it's never a good thing to look at horses from last year and the year before and try and put them against horses from this year or from 4 years ago. Or you shouldn't do that because every year is different, right? You might have a standout in Illinois or Indiana or Ohio or Ontario or Pennsylvania or New York, New Jersey, whatever. You may have standouts, and then it just kind of makes the year that much tougher for you, where you might have a softer year. The year Lawmaker did well, it wasn't that it was a soft year, but everybody was similar. There was no layovers, right? Even Crystal Fashion was in that year, and he didn't really emerge until later on in his 3-year-old career. So when I look at this filly, I'm not judging her on last year or the year before or what she might do because she has to go to New Jersey or where we might be able to race her, how we're going to stake her. At this point in January, I'm just looking at the horse. She's got a slick, clean gait. She loves her work. Clearly loves her work because she was horsing bad yesterday, they said. Clearly loves her work. Went out, puts in an honest effort, and goes out of her way to not make mistakes. That's all I can ask for. And this filly popped into my head immediately when I was doing this list. An easy number 8 for me is Speed of Sound.
Melisandre.
Melisandre at 8. Okay, tell us.
Well, she only finished 4th in her set.
Yeah, but she did look good.
But she did her work, which she has a few excuses why she doesn't have to right now. So.
Yep, she got a curve that bothers her, and we're working on that. But she still does go out and do her work.
And I was proud of the way that she's, stopped with the pulling up, and she had every opportunity to do that yesterday, and she chose to do her work instead. So
I would suspect a lot of that pulling up might come from that curve to begin with, anyway, right?
Possibly, but I've seen the other two do it also.
Jimbury didn't do it on me yesterday, and Atronach didn't do it yesterday either. Anyway, I like Melisandre, but I did not put her on my list. I don't want. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm not telling you guys anymore. I didn't put her on my list only because she was 4th, and you were like 4th on Monday. And although I love the filly, and I think she's going to be a tremendous horse for us. I hope she will. Anyway, I think she is all.
It was more not her finish; it was her work ethic. From the week of the open house.
I couldn't really put her ahead. I couldn't in the open house. She was amazing.
Yeah, but the week leading up to that, she was not.
No, but she was just being a baby. I told you that when I went with her. She was fine. The horses I put on my list, I don't think I could put Melisandre in real time ahead of any of them, and that's really what it boiled down to. I love the filly. I think we're going to talk a lot about Melisandre between now and June and July, but when it came to today, in accordance to yesterday, or even Monday, looking at it in a real time view, I just didn't think I could put her on here against anyone else, but I love Melisandre. Number 7, a horse that won both his sets Monday and yesterday and has looked good. Kind of one of those fly under the radar horses. He's going to be one of those horses that I fight to put on the top 10 every week, but probably will belong on there for quite a while. I hope forever. And that's Rose Run AJ. This is a dancing Yankee colt that when we first broke them, it's different. When you break the pacers, especially for us, when we break the pacers as the trotters, it's different. It might sound odd to you, but the trotters usually pick it up quicker, right? And then you can start working with them right away. They're not all of them. Obviously, you have chap and horses that make breaks, but for the most part, the trotters are easy to get gated, and the pacers sometimes they struggle, right? We haven't Pelican Alice had his moments where he was good, but he's still a little rough. Captain Incredible continues to improve, but had a very, very bland starting point for that colt. And Rosa and AJ, all these horses were making breaks, and they just weren't getting it quick. You just have to have a little more patience at the start with them, which sounds odd, but it's true. And Rosa and AJ was great. The first day he looked very good was the day Scott went with him in the open house. And then he paces nice enough. I never sit behind him, so it's always somebody else going with him. He seems to have a different driver every week. And yesterday, Jason McGinnis went with him, and he said, geez, what a nice horse. He said, he drives a little odd. He said, but he's got lots of speed. He said, what a nice horse he is. So, here's a horse that won Monday, won Saturday. It's pretty hard for me not to talk about Rosa and AJ. An easy number 7. Very proud of what this horse has done, because I like when the horses have to overcome stuff, right? Whether it's minor or major, the fact that they're doing their job differently in accordance to how they have to behave to get that job done is important, and this horse has improved vastly over the last month, which is a good sign for me. So number 7, Rosa and AJ.
Aunt Lily.
Aunt Lily was very good yesterday. You asked me about her, but Aunt Lily, whatever, was very good. She had made a lot of breaks.
I've never seen her not make.
Yeah, she's always made breaks at the open house, in the training afterwards, and when it comes to her, I went out with her yesterday and she did make breaks and pace and act around. I had to tinker with her gear a little bit, tighten her hobbles up, really score her down and get her on her toes. And I tell you and Joey and everybody, I know you go out there and you're like, oh, I don't want them tired, I don't want them working too hard. I don't care if they get tired right now, because if the end result is they do their work well, the horses understand that too. When they come off the track and they've done their work well, if they really want to do their work and they're proud of what they do, which a lot of horses are. That might sound silly to you, but it's much like when you ask your kid to do a job right and they do it right. It's very fulfilling to them too, and a lot of the horses feel the same way. You can tell when you go in and they get their ears up and they're playing, they win, they eat their hay, and they just seem to be happy for the rest of the day. A lot of horses do understand that. And to see Aunt Lily go out there, I had to work her hard and really thaw her out, but when she got in the mile, she was all business. And Jason comes screaming up past me with Leggy halfway down the lane. She wanted to jump forward, but I didn't want to let her run, so I just left her alone for a step, and then she took off. She was very, very good yesterday. Again, I'm not going to talk about my list, but I was
You're
really...
also talking about mine.
Yeah, I was very happy with Aunt Lily yesterday.
Did you put her on your list?
I'm not telling you. I'm not telling anybody. So you can tell me why you liked Aunt Lily so good then.
Oh, I was just impressed with the fact I jogged her the day before, and I was like, I've never seen a nicely gated trotter like she has switched to the pace that easy.
Yeah, she does. She's Uncle Peter, right? Is she? Are you sure? You're just guessing?
No, she is.
Yeah, we've had a lot of the Uncle Peters do that throughout the years, right? And we've always said, a lot of people, if you're in Ohio, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of What the Hills and Uncle Peters, there's a lot of divisiveness when it comes to, there's a lot of division when it comes to those horses. You'll have people that just say, I hate Uncle Peters, I hate What the Hills. I was a What the Hill hater after year 1, yeah. But I like them now. You just have to understand, and the reason I like them is they're a lot the same. A lot of the good ones and the bad ones do a lot of the same things, and we've had a ton of Uncle Peters that would pace, but as you start getting them trained down and worked harder, and you get them into a place where they're comfortable, they do their work well, and Aunt Lily yesterday was a perfect example of that. My number 6 is Gymboree. Gymboree was one of my... I don't want to see your list.
It's Gymboree.
You're ruining it. Gymboree is the number 6 for me. I was just really impressed with her yesterday. She'd made a break on Joey, and Joey's a really nice guy, works his butt off. Typical old school horseman. He's young, but his dad did right by him, and Joey is a hard worker, and I love talking with him. He just got his license. I don't think he won a race yet, and if Joey watches these, it took me like 40 races to win. Mark McDonald won his first 2, by the way.
It's not really...
Yeah, it happens. I was going to win my 17th, and the older people that have known me for a long time know what happened. Art Lute Hanover, I'll never forget, run off the track on Canop. It broke my heart that day, because I was just feeling the stress of being an oafer, and I was going to easily win that day, and that horse run off the track, and I was literally heartbroken, and it took me another 20 races probably to win a race. And I know where Joey's coming from. It's hard to go out there. You don't want to, especially he's got his dad watching. He works for us. We're watching. It's a lot of stress, and for him to go out there and drive. Again, he's driving horses. It's not like he's getting beat with 5-2 shots or 8-5 shots. He's getting beat with 10-1 horses and 8-1 horses, and it's a tough gig. And if he watches these, don't worry about that. It took a lot. Don't worry about me as a driver. a lot of very good drivers before me. It took them quite a while to win races too. So don't worry about that, Joe. You're doing the right thing. He goes with Gymboree, and she was acting up on Monday. And as I told him the other day, that you can't go and just jog them like old horses and turn them and expect them to do their work right all the time. You got to have them on their toes. It's game time, turn, and away you go. And Gymboree was awesome yesterday. I thought, I don't know her that well because I didn't sit behind her, and it was so windy yesterday. When you started to come around the turn to the head of the lane, that wind hit you like a freight train, and it was frigid. And it was like seriously really, really cold. And that wind hit her, and it just felt like she was going to soften. We got to the lane, I kind of pecked at her and roared at her, and she was gone. Hit another gear. That's what I wanted to see, and that's what I want to see in our horses, is that they understand the extra little bit you got to put in to get the job done. And
actually,
even
I thought they did really well in that wind.
Oh yeah.
Like
the only one that you saw, that filly, the What the Hill filly, what's her name, that Eric went with, but he was out 3 wide and she kind of blew the turn.
Freedom Hill.
Freedom
and
Hill.
Grape was the only one.
And Grape, but they'll do that from time to time. But you know, it's the same thing I said to you. If Grape was right on his toes and you had to growl at him getting into the turn.
I can't get him on his toes. That's
well,
why
he's
an
1,100-pound horse. He probably just doesn't care.
He doesn't, so I'm not going with him
anymore. All right, I'll go with Grape. So Gymboree was exceptionally good yesterday for a number of reasons. I like this filly in Kentucky. I remember telling you, I said,
She's
I love.
Nice now, though.
I
she
know.
doesn't kick and stuff.
I know the Gymborees. Everybody was looking for them, and this filly was hidden away on day 4. She was one of my favorites, and I told everybody that. We got her for way less than I thought we'd have to pay for, and I got a lot of high hopes riding on Gymboree. I really like this filly.
That was mine. So I showed you.
So why did you like her yesterday?
Oh, I just thought that she did a great job, and she hasn't been.
She's been making a few breaks, you're right.
It's nice to see them be the horse that you think they are.
That's right. Even glimpses, you're right. And that's every day we go home. It was cold yesterday and it was muddy on Monday. Just a horrible week of training. But to come home and reflect on the horses and then be happy to see a horse like Gymboree make a break on Monday and then come out and just manhandle them. And that sounds silly because we're going in like 250, 255. But you have to understand, that's all they can do right now. When they get to the races, they can trot hopefully in 54, 55, whatever. But that's what they're able to do strength-wise and ability-wise. This is all they're able to do right now. It's not like we're botting them out, but they're competing out there sometimes training. And I think that's very important for the babies. And to see her go out and do her work that much better than 5 other horses or 4 other horses yesterday, that was impressive. It was. Why don't you do your number 5 first?
I had Chicago Hall.
At 5? That's impressive.
Well, he was quite a bit faster.
He was awesome.
The horse that I was on in that set, the what's his name, Legion?
Yeah.
I got in traffic trouble, so I didn't really pay attention to how far ahead you were until after the fact. But I don't think I was gonna. You were on your toes way before I.
He was gone, and he was wrapped. I looked over my shoulder. I mean, I had him wrapped going through the wire. He was so strong. And then the thing I want to see is, how do you do it this week? Now, Danny wanted to castrate him. He was striking at Cindy. Cindy said he struck at her twice in the burn, and I can't have Cindy getting hurt. And that's kind of a no-no. If they're into their training and they're still striking or biting at people, they're immediately castrated. And I didn't think there was anything wrong with Chicago Hall. But at the same time, we're in January, right? He still has a lot of hurdles to go through as a stud to get to the summer as one. And if we need to nip it in the bud now, then I have no problem doing that. But Chicago Hall, I thought, was very, very impressive. He's not going to be castrated until next Saturday afternoon, because he is next Saturday morning. He has the drone. So that's the plan with Chicago Hall. I put him at 10, but I don't blame you for putting it at 5. I really like that horse. My number 5 was Bluebird Tuxedo Hill. I think Bluebird Tuxedo Hill is one of that was the horse that Hunter brought up last night. We went out to dinner last night with Hunter Myers and his girlfriend and Chris Lems and his fiance now. And Hunter had asked me, he said, what about, we were talking about the babies or whatever. They were joking because Green Glitter dumped me out of the jog cart yesterday and I scraped my elbow and my back and stuff. I'm fine, but and they were joking about it. I said, you joke all you want. This filly's a legit good horse. And she just was, it's pretty hard for me to get mad at her because she was hot because the hobbles were bothering her on open house day, or because she gets scared from a tractor or a TV. I can't get mad at her for that. I wasn't mad at her at all. And to see her have the composure she did to come back and train the way she did yesterday, it speaks volumes of her. So we were talking about her, and Hunter said, what about that Cadillac that I drove? The nice colt, blue something. I said, Bluebird Tuxedo Hill. He goes, yeah. I said, he's really nice colt. Eric's been going with him. He's got a sweet, sweet gait. He actually could have ended up a lot higher. He's going to stay probably in the top 5 for quite a while, I would imagine. Bluebird Tuxedo Hill's a legit nice horse. Number 4.
I Don't Play Nice.
Okay, I Don't Play Nice. I think it's 100% correct. Why?
He's just been lights out.
He's been very good. Now, you didn't go with him the same as I went with him.
I haven't ever gone with him.
I went with him about 3 weeks ago, and I busted him a quarter. He has got a big engine in him. This is a big, strong colt. And the reason I kind of drift towards him is because he's a homebred, right? I fought to breed Muscle Chrome, and she was a terrible animal. But I just liked the fact that she felt like she wanted to be a better horse, and God just didn't give her the gift or the ability to do it. But her attitude was fine, and we bred her to Muscle Chrome or to Long Tom and ended up with this colt. I hadn't seen him until we brought him in. We castrated him because he was on his toes and he was striking at people. Now he doesn't do any of that. I'll tell you what, Joey has come first over with him a couple of times now. Just watch him move. I don't need to sit behind him, and the first day I do sit behind him, keep an eye on him. But Joey went with him the other day, and he was going to clear a Green Glitter halfway down the backstretch, and I looked over, and here comes Jason in the middle, Freedom Hills 3 wide, and Jason's jamming up through the middle with the other horse, and I'm like, I'm just going to leave you there. And I left him out, and he was still closing as much as he could at the wire. But yeah, you're right. He's a really, like, that's with no boots or anything.
Yeah,
just
nothing.
The sweetest gait. Him and Bluebird got a natural gait. Actually, I don't want to bring it up, but Green Glitter also had no boots on yesterday. Anyway,
she had polos.
No, she didn't. Nothing. I took everything off her.
Oh.
In fact, she actually ripped that bell boot off. If you watch the end of the video,
there's a couple of them did that.
Yeah,
yesterday.
if you watch the end of the Velcro broke also. If you watch the end of the video where they show the backstretch camera, you see me reach down and pick up her bell boot that she had lost starting down the backstretch. So you went with I Don't Play Nice. I also went with No, I Don't Play Nice at number 4.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it's right there. I think the world of this horse. He's in the right jurisdiction. He's got the right gait, and he definitely has the right attitude. I think this horse is a powerhouse, and he's going to be something that people watch all spring long. Number 3.
I put Green Glitter mostly because
I got to hear this.
Don't shut up about her all the time, and I knew if I didn't put her on my list.
Say, I didn't hear you there. What did you say?
You don't shut up about her all the time, like all day, every day. So I knew if I didn't put her on here that you would.
I think that's kind of mean, actually. I'm not judging your list at all. You put Green Glitter on there because she looked as good as any horse we have. Now, every year, you guys know, if you've been with us a long time, of course I drift towards horses that I like, and I cheer for the underdogs. We had some Green Shoes that were nice last year, but a lot of people were down on Green Shoe. We only ended up with the one who was Green Glitter. And she's got a slick gait. She was kind of nasty when we broke her. She was kicking and acting up. She
still has her moments.
No, she doesn't. She still has her. No,
she dumped you out yesterday.
That wasn't her fault. She was scared. I'm not going to blame her for dumping.
What about kicking Lauren when she walked by with the wheelbarrow?
Yeah, that was kind of mean. She kicked Lauren. I don't know what went on, but Lauren was going by her with the wheelbarrow and she kicked her in the leg.
She's mean.
I just like her. I think she's got a very strong disposition, but I love the way she channels it on the track. You can sit quiet as a kitten in the 5-hole, and she'll trot as hard as she can. Like Memento Mori had the jump on me the other day. She was coming to him, but he was in hand the other day, and he looked very good. But if you watch the video, she's throwing her head, and something was really bothering her. We put a rubber bit in her mouth, and I put a V martingale on her just to have her keep her head down and behave. You see how low her head is. She got that beautiful stride and beautiful. You know who she looks like on the track? I just thought about it. She looks exactly like Swinging Senorita, except Swinging Senorita would pace sometimes. This filly all trot.
Actually, Callie's done great with her because she can get her bridle and everything.
She is so nice.
And we couldn't even do that like a month ago.
Yeah, she is. I don't care. She's probably my favorite right now, but for a number of reasons. But I just love how effortless she goes. And if you watch on open house day how quick she screamed through the inside, she enjoys her work. I love the horses that are merciless. They don't just go by and just kind of wait. They'd rather win by 5 than 1. I love the merciless way they go about their work. And listen, I chimed in and went on about Enzo and other horses that just didn't pan out because they could do this stuff at this time, right? And that's all I can go by is what they can go by. It was what they can do now. Green Glitter is going to have to be a killer in July, right? Being a killer in January just means that I get to talk about you, but she has all the tools. But I love that, I'm going to kick Lauren for no particular reason when she walks by me. And she didn't maul her. She just kicked her to say, hey, better pay attention next time there. And it's just one of those. And she's got that way about her that I really love everything about this filly. And maybe she won't be a great horse, but she'll be a useful horse. And I like that about her too. So your number 3 is Green Glitter. My number 3 is Memento Mori. And obviously our number 1s are vastly different. Memento Mori, I think everybody by now can figure out, here's a horse that acted up, needed the hobbles early, ran away with people, really rude, and for those of you out there that are old horsemen, you're not going to like hearing this. He already wears a Crit Davis and a wire snake cord, but I want him under control. Jason Merriman has done a tremendous job going with this horse, keeping him quiet, teaching him. The other day he ended up clearing the lead, and I couldn't run him down with Green Glitter. I put her on the front this week, and I knew that he wasn't going to run me down, not unless there was a bigger engine than even anybody thought in Memento Mori. But we were moseying halfway down the lane to the wire. They were really trotting hard. And Memento Mori, there's a full brother to Kierkegaard. I think there's only 2 horses in the family. Very well bred. And Mark told me that Kierkegaard interfered a little bit in places, and this guy doesn't at all. He might wear the hobbles. You might think, oh, he hits everywhere. No. He wears those hobbles because he needed to be anchored down to pay attention, because he was such an idiot when he was a stud that he just didn't want to do anything. He would canter and break and just be rude and stupid. He was one of the first ones we castrated, and actually, for good reason. I assisted in that castration. Yes, that's gross. But Memento Mori, so much better as a gelding, and he can absolutely fly on the track, and there doesn't appear to be any floor to this guy or any ceiling. He just, whatever you need him to do, he can do. And to come and beat Green Glitter when I had the jump on him like that was, you would have to be a racehorse to come and beat her, going the speed we were going. And I was thoroughly impressed. But when he got up beside me in the turn, he was focused. You could tell he wasn't wound up. He wasn't like climbing out of his harness. He was just getting his work done. And I like that about that horse. So yeah, I put him at 3, and I bet you my number 1 horse you don't even have on your list. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. Who's your number 2 horse?
Rose Run Alexander.
Okay. Come on, tell me why.
Oh, she looked incredible yesterday.
Yeah, she did.
We went too fast.
It was only a matter.
She wasn't even blowing when we came in.
She has got the smoothest, slickest gait you would ever want to see. Now, the only issue I have with Rose Run Alexander, she's a dancing Yankee, and their mouths are very funny. When they get scared, she doesn't jump over stuff, which is good, because that's what Born to Dance did, right? So she's not scared.
Shies away from stuff, though.
Stupid stuff. Shies away from a leaf or the tractor or the truck or anything could scare her to the point where she is completely on tilt. And that's not a cool thing. It's not a great attribute. And knowing the other dancing Yankees, I don't know how much she'll get better at it. They don't seem to absorb anything and learn a whole lot as they go. They're all fast. They're all durable.
But what scares them, they have their ways, and then it's like that's just the way I do it.
So this week we had taken and put a snake cord on her. You hear this a lot. There's gonna be a lot of horsemen out there saying, "Is this guy retarded? Like, what are you doing?" And we do wear them a lot. And I tell everybody, if they're gonna get hot, they're gonna get a little rowdy. I'm not looking for a happy medium. I'm gonna put a snake cord on you, and you're gonna behave today. And that's just me. That's just Anthony's stance on things. And whether it's right or it's wrong, that's how we do things in the barn. And Rose Run Alexander was a little warm. She can get a little fiery. We put an ear hood on her. She was on the other day. I won the set with her, I think. No, I didn't get the Jason. She was on the left line a little bit. We added a Murphy blind on the outside and put a snake cord on her. And I asked Jason. Jason went too fast with her yesterday, but she's just because she's so slick. And I told him, I said, was she hot? And he said, no. He said, that was my fault. Which is fine. It's not a big deal. Nobody cares. So, Rose Run Alexander's your number 2. My number 2, Green Glitter. Now, Green Glitter, I've talked her up. I don't have to do much more of that. I think I did it a minute ago with Amy's. It's just, she's probably going to be on my favorite list for a very, very long time. I just love everything about her. These are the types of horses that Anthony gravitates towards, right? These are the types of horses that I have an affinity for, that I really like. The ones that can be a little mean when you break them, you can polish them up a little bit, but they always got that little bit of, you're not paying attention walking by me at the wheelbarrow, then maybe I'll take a poke at you. And those are the ones I just like their attitude, that little bit of, I might be broke and I might be trotting, but I'm still a horse. And you're going to pay attention when you're around me. She's not mean, and I have no idea. You could walk by her. I would have, Addie could walk by her. She'd never be a problem, but for whatever reason, Lauren walked by her with the wheelbarrow yesterday, and she got a right hook. She didn't strike at her. She just she kicked her enough to get her attention and maybe scare her a little bit, but didn't do it enough to hurt her, obviously.
No, so, I would be way more nervous to walk by Aunt Lily than walk by
Aunt Lily can be mean too. Yeah. Those fillies, they get a little territorial, right? You bring her to your stall and you put her on the cross ties right by her stall. She doesn't like horses going around her. She doesn't like people going around her. She's just a little crotchety. But that will dissipate as they go. And the green glitter thing, that'll dissipate too. At the end of the day, I just hope what we're left with is a horse with 8 cylinders that is fast, smart, and wants to do their work. She already understands her work, and that's the other thing I love about her. The fact that she dumped me out of the jog cart, and this is another reason I love green glitter. The fact that she dumped me out of the jog cart, right, and kind of drugged me for about 3 feet and stopped. Another horse could have just bolted and been gone. And for those of you that have been around horses, you know what I'm talking about. Here's a 2-year-old that gets scared from a tractor, dumped me out of the jog cart. Now I'm on the ground, and I run her into the fence where the winner's circle is. She stops. I would say 6 or 7 out of 10 horses would have just taken off and been gone. Nothing at that point. I would have to let go. Yeah. And she's gone. There's nothing I can do. She stopped, let me get up, get back on the jog cart. I turned her behind the tractor. She jogged for a lap behind the tractor, and then in the next lap, jogged past the tractor. That is learning very fast. Arson almost ran through a chain link fence last year, coming out of the winner's circle in Oak Grove. And we've always tried to jog him around tractors and be around the trucks, just get used to stuff. He refuses. May as well be a dinosaur as a tractor. And it's just some horses just don't learn. I talked about the Dancing Yankees, how we tried everything with Born to Dance. We jogged him for a month, sunny days, over the shadows, just trying to get him used to looking. He wouldn't. He was just as dumb as he was in February, as he was in July in regards to things like that. Then you have Green Glitter, terrified of that tractor to the point that she bolted, dumped me out on the track, and then had enough brains in her head to jog behind the tractor, understand what the tractor, I guess, was, that it wasn't really a threat, and then jog by it like it was no big deal. You wouldn't find another horse that would do that, I don't think. So she was my number 2. Your number 2 was Rose Run Alexandra. Who's your number 1? Memento Mori. Just pretty safe. Memento Mori we talked about, and I think you tell them why you love him, because everybody knows what I do now.
I haven't got to go with him, but I just...
You don't want to go. Some days he can get a little grabby, he can get a little rank.
Just mostly the progression, and then it's like a switch clicked, and
that's right.
And it obviously had to do with him being gelded, I'm thinking, but his attitude's obviously good, and he likes doing his work, and now that he's under control for the most part.
Yep.
It's just, I really, really liked him at the sale. I really wanted him.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing when I was like, oh, this thing won't trot.
For my partners out there on Grand Old Chap, you know that he hasn't trotted yet, but he's close.
Yes, he did trot.
He trotted for 5 strides on you.
5.
That's right. I watched him. He did trot for 5 strides. And we have some plans with Grand Old Chap, but I need everybody to understand Memento Mori was every bit as bad as Grand Old Chap when we started with him. Would not trot. And the difference was Grand Old Chap's got a great attitude. What I like about him, and the reason I keep sticking up for him, it's not his attitude. He'll go out and gallop for 8 laps, 10 laps if you want him to. It's not being tired. It's not he just doesn't care and won't do it. It's not his attitude. The horse has got a great attitude. All it is I just saw a big update. All it is
You're gonna tell me?
No, it's a football update.
Oh.
All it is that, I shouldn't say all it is, because I don't know what it is. But I'm certain that between his breeding and his good attitude and his work ethic, as Amy said, they do click sometimes, right? They just click and go forward. And I'm waiting for that watershed moment. It happened with Memento Mori, and it happens all the time. I talked about Roser and AJ on the pace. He wasn't doing that. All of a sudden, boom, he did. That watershed moment will come for Grand Old Chap. I can't tell you why it hasn't come yet, but I'm absolutely confident it will. So I wanted to say that because we don't get to talk about him. And he is a nice little horse. He just hasn't done his work yet. So you went with Memento Mori at number 2, or number 1. My number 1 is Rose on Alexandra. So
okay.
I saw her. I had a very good look at her yesterday. Another horse has been giving me fits for the last week has been Dancing by Myself, and he might be one of our fastest horses. It might be hard for you to understand because nobody's really seen him and he's been acting up. But I know how fast he is, and when he hits the trot, he is flawless. But he was galloping and being really rude to get onto the trot, and I can't really tell you why. I don't know why he was doing that. And I was way behind everybody. I went a mile in 42 or something, 44, which is faster than any horse would go this time of year. But I was mad at him too, so I made him work. but I was on the other side of the track when you guys were finishing up, and Rosa and Alexander looked like a racehorse going on. It looked like somebody said, "Can you just train that 3-year-old with those 2-year-olds and just to get them some experience?"
Like, even if Foxy didn't run where she did, I wasn't gaining any ground.
He was wrapped going through the wire. The Murphy blind, the snake with the yard, everything was perfect. And the fact that she did it on the front, went over all the stuff on the track that she could see, and it didn't bother her, was a huge jump forward. Rose Run Alexandra, you know, we have 8 or 10 horses that look really legit right now. That doesn't mean that they're going to look legit in June, July, August, or be legit horses. And we're going to have some horses that come on late, lots of them that come on. But we have 8 or 10 right now that really catch my eye on a daily basis. Rose Run Alexander, you can tell when you go with her. She just, we've never won the Breeders' Crown, and the Hamiltonian, or the North American Cup, or the Jugette. So we haven't had any horses to say, well, it reminds me of that good horse. We just haven't had them. But when I see Rose Run Alexander, and I see, you know, the green glitters and those horses, you know, it's early enough at least to say, good. You know, we get something special with this filly, but it is January. So those are my top 10 list. That's my top 10 list. That's Amy's top 10 list. I thought it'd be fun to bring this to you. Get another 40-minute video for you guys to kill your morning with. But I like the horse I talked about when you know, the horses I left off my list, like Melisandre, like Westland Warrior, like horses that are legit nice horses. We have a good 2025 right now that are really, really nice. A bunch that are coming on, and other ones that are just learning, like the slower set with Yves St. Kemp, Captain Incredible. These are horses that are just learning to do their work well, and every bit is impressive to me so far.
Well, it's much like a classroom. All the kids don't know everything at the exact same time, but
it's my, as I said my header video, and I say it all the time to you guys, not my favorite time of year. It's pretty stressful. Stake payment season is coming. Your Christmas is over. Kind of my least favorite time of year is right now, but my favorite time of year for the babies, because you get to watch them start to learn to do what Rose and Alexander did yesterday. I get to watch that happen in front of me and see the progression from these horses, or even Memento Mori, to see him go from, my God, this horse, a rotten little animal, to, wow, this thing can fly. Impressive. Really, really impressive. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun, or took away something from that. If I didn't mention your horse, there's lots of time left. We have 6 months left. So really happy with the way the videos went yesterday. You for the week?
Yeah, no, I didn't have a very good day yesterday, but it's partly my fault.
It happens. It happens. So with that is our Dueling Top 10 list for January the 14th, 2024. One of the first ones. The first training day that really meant something was actually yesterday, and I was thoroughly impressed. Hope you were too. Have a wonderful week ahead. Bundle up. It is chilly now, but it is going to be bitter, bitter cold. For those of you in Florida, take care.